does finish him off. Gets 2. Gets 3.
What a hit that hits him 65%. Wow!
And does it go in? It goes in! It goes in!
The wide swing fight. 4v2, 4v1. I go 4v none.
Hello, Pio Nation. Welcome back. I hope you're doing well. My name is Matt Williamson.
Yes, and I'm Tyler Saladitro.
And you're still watching Marietta College Esports. All right, so let me explain what's going on here. So on Thursday, our League of Legends team played against my university in College League of Legends. The plan was that after streaming the Rainbow Six match, we would stream the League of Legends match. That was the original plan. What we didn't plan for was me coming down with the flu the day before. I feel a little bit better now. A lot better now, actually. But on Thursday, if you listened to me at the beginning of the stream, I wasn't as so great. My voice was giving out. So thank goodness Vincent Anderson was here to help commentate the Rainbow Six match. But because I was definitely not in any shape to commentate afterwards, what we did was I got the Rafa files from that match, and I have it up here and it's working. So we're going to replay those files to you guys so you can see the match. I already know the outcome of the game, but I'm going to pretend like I don't know what happened. I don't think Tyler knows how it goes, so he's going to talk about it as if he hasn't seen the game yet anyway, because he hasn't seen it.
Yes, I have not seen the results at all. No, I have not.
Okay. All right, so we'll do a couple of quick pre-stream announcements, and we will get this underway. So first of all, we need to go over who is going to be playing, who already played in the match, I should say. But we're going to have in the top lane, Aiden Gatlin, AR Gatlin. At jungle, we're going to have senior Bryce Heitman, Scrimpo. At mid, we have one of our newest additions to the team, sophomore Kat Hutman, Happier Cat. At ADC, we'll have senior Steph Saunders, Radio Soul. Although I guess she changed her game. It's now top rope. I didn't realize that.
I don't know.
But that's what it shows here. So I guess she's now top rope.
I just work here.
Awesome. I do too. And then we have at support, senior Bethany Holstein, Max Ibu. And then we have our coaches, head coach Derek Games, and our League of Legends coach, Alex Gunnarsson. But all right, few quick announcements and we will get this underway. So first of all, we do want to give a quick shout out to HyperX for being the official peripheral sponsor of Marietta College Esports. They provide our facility with keyboards, mice, headsets, mouse pads, microphones. So definitely go to hyperx.gg/MariettaES to check out all sorts of HyperX gear. I love their stuff. I got their headsets at home. We're using their quad cast mic here in the room. I've been pretty pleased with their products. And I'm not just saying that because they are sponsoring us. I genuinely do like their products.
I mean, I did have a HyperX keyboard for 4.5 years, but I hit it a little too much, so
it's very durable.
Yeah, it was very
until
durable.
you rage a little bit. But
until the D key decided to break. And then it
But still, 4 years is a pretty good amount of time for
Oh yeah, it was solid. It was solid. I'd still be using it today if I didn't break it.
But okay, also just a quick note on the schedule for next week. So later on today, our League of Legends team will be playing against St. Thomas, so we will be streaming that. But next week, we have a couple other things going on. So Rocket League is going to be starting up on Monday, so they'll be debuting, playing against Oklahoma Christian at 7 o'clock. And then on Thursday, we'll have both our Rainbow Six Siege and Smash Brothers teams play at 7 o'clock. We'll try to stream both of them. I'm still going to work out the logistics on how that's going to be handled. Saturday, our Smash team will be playing against Mountain Union. And then that afternoon, we're going to see our Fortnite team again, where they'll be starting up their quest to try to claim a championship in the Naystar League circuits. But all right, I think that's enough announcements for now. So let's get into the game here. Just as a reminder, this is a Rafa file, so we're not going to worry about all the picks and bans. In fact, I don't even know what's banned. What I do know is, I'm just going to go into the game so you can see for yourself before we actually hit the start button. So we have here AR Gatlin's playing Mundo, Scrimpo's playing Lilia, Happier Cat's playing Aurelia, Top Rope's going to be playing Seraphine, Maximus going to be playing Zyra. And then we got here, we got Trundle in top lane, Zinjao at jungle, Akali at mid, Draven at ADC and Leona at support. So before we even start this, Tyler, I mean, what are you noticing about these picks?
Well, Trundle top lane is pretty interesting, but I have been seeing a heavy influx of it lately, given the new tank meta, and it's actually kind of broken because if you can just run at your opponent level 1, and because you heal off of your bite, you just essentially win your level 1 fight 9 times out of 10. So that's pretty interesting. I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to go down. Xin Zhao and Kali just hard in the meta right now, not really too out of the ordinary. Lilia's pretty heavy AP, as well as Seraphine Zyra, so lots of AP on the side of Marietta. It's a very strong poke bot lane that they have, but is very, very, very weak pre-level 6, so they've got to be able to play around that, and play around their Lost Chapter scaling with their AP damage, and not feed this Draven Leona that wants to go in and basically feed Draven his kills off his adoration stacks.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the big factor here is going to be that Draven for Miami, because he is one of those types of champions where if he gets ahead early on, he's going to be super scary.
I casted a game the other day where a 12-3 Draven one-tapped a Nico mid-ultimate. Yep. She went in with Pop Blossom and did not come down.
Wow. All right. So let's go ahead and get things started here. So how do we hit the start button?
Just press P.
Oh, we'll do that too. All right, here we go. So let's see what they decide to go with.
Now, another thing to point out is they are playing on, I believe this is 14.2. This is 14.2. Might be 14.3. I'm not entirely sure.
It's whatever the latest patch is.
And with the Seraphine Zyra comp, I'm pretty sure they have fixed the game to where you can no longer run double support items, which would be broken with the Seraphine Zyra comp, because first back, the Seraphine would go and get that World Atlas like the Zyra has, and then they would both build into double support items, which would then just be giga broken. But I think that they're playing on a patch where League stopped that because it was menacing.
Okay. Now, while we're waiting for kind of the beginning here, because at least for me personally, I know there's been a lot of changes since last season. Since this is our first stream since the changes, Tyler, you want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that they made to the game, especially with the map, because it looks like there's been a lot of changes, especially in the top and bottom lanes.
Well, so what you're going to see is, wherever our directed camera decides to pan, primarily throughout this game. So we'll talk about the bot lane first. There's new paths in the jungle. You'll see primarily on the blue side. It makes bot lane a little bit more gankable. So if you are playing red side, you can get ganked pretty easily, which is kind of annoying, which makes blue side kind of like giga strong once again. Like blue side didn't already have a high win rate percentage. But anyway, if you look down in the bottom right next to the tower, there is a new path right there that allows you to gank bot lane a lot easier.
So right about there, right?
Yeah. And then if you look at the river, which it is a little bit wider, you can only really see it when you look at the new mid lane brushes. As you can see, they're a lot longer than they used to be. So it is a little bit wider. And then top side, you can see that they got rid of the paths, and they have put like that little bend there, and added a new path. It's not. I don't think it's going to be there just yet. But when the Baron spawns, there's 2 new paths toward the Baron pit. And then last but not least, they finally took the mid lane turrets and actually put them in the middle of the lane, and added a couple of new roam pathing.
Yeah, I can see it. All right, thank you for that explanation. And I guess we're getting some help in the chat from Happier Cat that the bans were, it looks like Nico, Zach, Soraka, Morgana, Twisted Fate, Jack, Shavana, Vladimir, Swain, and Tryndamere.
Oh, very heavy engage here off of that Leona flail. First of all, it's going to go over to the Xin Zhao like I mentioned, bot lane way easier to gank this season, so I feel like Marietta's bot lane, especially if they want to run this double AP bot lane, gotta find an angle to be able to play a little bit safer towards their power spikes. Because especially against a Xin Zhao, who you gotta be expecting a Xin Zhao gank at level 3.
And we're just already seeing that Draven just harassing that bot lane, getting his clears. We may see a possible pick onto the Akali. But no, Akali will get away.
Yeah, we're kind of at a moment in the game. There's not really anything worth fighting for. The opponent, Miami, obviously they want to fight because they have a very early playing composition with the Xin Zhao, the Draven, the Akali. Excuse me, they want to get ahead very early and snowball that into the late game. But Marietta's composition doesn't really want to do that except for potentially Happier Cat on the Aurelia. The only champion for Marietta that really can benefit from being ahead early. A lot of these AP scalers, if they get ahead early, I mean, a Draven's still going to do more damage. As we see Xin Zhao coming down once again. There's no flash on Radio Soul this time around, so the Seraphine will potentially end up falling. It's going to be another flash forward from Champ, trying to solidify this pick. It is a great exhaust, but it ended up going on the Leona and not able to CC up, and then one will end up falling. Xin Zhao going forward, trying to find more. It's going to be a double kill over to the Draven, who's now 2-0. Is taking a ton of gold into his pocket. Don't think he had too many stacks stacked up, but that's still devastating if you are Marietta.
Yeah, it seemed like what happened there was just they were pushed up too far. They didn't have any wards in the river. They had like a plant, but that was it. So Xin Zhao was just able to rotate around, and they were forced to retreat, but by then it was just too late.
Yeah, and we see Trundle going forward with he's already level 6, so he has the ultimate and healing advantage against Argotland. The turret will not end up falling or killing him off. He's able to pick off that in the top side. Seeing the power of that Trundle go absolutely menacing here.
Let's see. Radio Soul nicely trying to get Draven very low, but just not able to finish him off, so they're going to be able to back away. Meanwhile, Max Boo is going to try to at least set up a couple of plants to get a better idea. Yeah, finally gets a ward over in that area.
Now we do see the introduction of the Void Grubs. They have been, I believe they spawned about a minute and a half ago. They spawned at 5 minutes as well as the first dragon. So it now gives you like this it's like a macro scale. It's like, do I go for the dragon? Do I go for the grubs? As we see Zyro will actually end up falling here. The third kill of the game for Phantom on this Draven. He's putting in absolute work right now, punishing Marietta's overextensions as Trundle going forward once again is going to be able to find Argotland. Meanwhile, Champ was able to kill off those Void Grubs like I was mentioning. So it is a new objective that essentially is like mini Rift Heralds. So whenever you get 5 stacks of them, at 3 stacks of them like they'd have now, you do deal extra little bit of void damage, but it's not 2 towers, but it's not that detrimental. When you get 5 stacks of them, however, autoing turrets gives you the little void grublings spawn out of the minion void damage and start attacking the tower as well. So you're able to burst down towers way more effectively.
Okay, so that comes now before. So instead of doing 2 Rift Heralds, they have these little Void Grubs and then a Rift Herald?
Yes, we have 1 Rift Herald now.
Okay.
But that 1 Rift Herald has changed, and when we get to the Rift Herald, I'll talk about that a little bit more, because it's a very interesting change, and I kind of want to see if somebody does it and it'll surprise you a little bit. But we see Happier Cat able to get off the stun, so he was able to trade out 1-for-1 there under his tower, at least maintaining an even presence, even with a little bit of a gold lead in that mid lane. Does not have the TP online, but neither does J Nitro, and Shrimpo recognizes that and is going to be able to shove out the wave, but Champ is going to respond and even out the wave state, so they should be able to crash back in the middle of the lane. But yeah, there's a little surprise with the Rift Herald, and if whoever gets it, does it, I kind of want to see a reaction to it, because the Rift Herald's a little bit different this time around.
Okay. We will see if we get there. So far, Ocean Drake is up as no one has gone for it just yet, but we are seeing a lot of vision in favor of Miami. We see already a deep pink ward in Marietta's blue side jungle, trying to spot what's going on. And there comes the Leona ult to slow down Seraphine. Ult comes out, but Seraphine is able to dodge it. So both ults were being used by Miami, but all they were able to do is just zone out Marietta's bot lane. Although here comes Xin Zhao, they may be looking for a 3-person no, they're going to fall back. A huge mini wave is crashing the tower, but Maximum is actually staying there. They're going to get dove upon. Exhaust comes out. The Leon's going to take a couple tower hits and will actually fall to the tower. Maximum getting the kill for it. Not all of it was going to catch Draven. Gets very low, but still not enough to finish him off.
A little bit of a toss there from Miami. I mean, I think that the Leona out of Beans got a little bit teased there, thinking that they were going to go for the 3-man tower dive, and she ended up, the Xin Zhao ended up not committing early enough, and that's kind of what happened there. I feel like at that point you might as well commit. You have a bot lane advantage and you're going for dragon play, so just commit to the tower dive there, get that kills in the bot lane, and then that just opens up the dragon for essentially free. But we see Akali's actually going to end up taking that dagger. It's going to get drowsied up, but a flash forward from Champ is going to be able to knock up Lilia and get that kill over to J Nitro. Another flail into the mid lane. The blades are going to come out of Happier Cat, trying to fight his way out of this. Dashing left, right, and center is going to get a shutdown though. So his life is actually, his death there is going to actually have a factor. Is, you know, he gets a little bit more gold out of that than the enemy team will.
Yeah, it does help, and I think that they're going to fall back. I don't think this would be an opportunity to go for the Drake, but they're going to sit that and go straight towards Seraphine. They want those kills over the objectives. And Air Gatlin did pop his ultimate. It's just not enough to stay alive against this 3-0-0 Trundle. But now they will start up the Ocean Drake. Actually, no, never mind. Max, we just used the plant to start, but we see Xin Zhao trying to start that Drake.
She leashed. The plant leashed for the dragon. But yeah, the topside battle is going to be a little bit difficult because, yes, Argotland has to pop his ultimate in order to fight back and sort of survive here. Thing is, when he does that, Trundle just presses R and starts stealing all of those tank stats that the ulted Mundo has. So it's just a very difficult top lane, and now he has Bork online, which I don't know if you know this, but Bork items have changed. We no longer have mythics. We see J Nitro on the Akali has built Storm Surge, which I don't entirely agree with on Akali as a first item, but it's okay. It's a pretty broken AP burst item, but they have nerfed it, so it's not as broken as it was. But it's going to be a lot harder for Argotland in the top lane now, because Bork not only provides lifesteal, the first auto you hit with Bork now slows. Yes.
And he's already able to... That seems like the perfect item for Trundle, because he's all about slowing down.
It is extremely stupid on Vars right now. It is getting heavily abused on Vars right now.
I believe that.
We see another bot lane engage coming down. The CC chain from Leona is absolutely devastating, and she'll actually end up stealing the kill away from her AD carry. He's probably going to be having some few choice words for her on that one.
It doesn't look like the guy's going to look for more of those ward grabs, so looking for that 5-stack you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, he will end up getting the 6. It's not looking like it's going to be contested, so he'll end up getting the 6. Top rope will end up, or Radio Soul will end up falling there once again. Flash forward from Happier Cat trying to land the blaze on the Leona, but she does have the flash online to be able to counteract that, but trying to see, Marietta needs to find an angle to sort of slow the bleeding. You're already almost down 10k gold and we're only 13 minutes in. 6 Void Grub stacks have been picked up, and now it's Trundle going on to Argot land once again. He's not going to be able to kite him out. There's the Bork slow coming down, but Mundo actually with the CC passive is able to get out just briefly.
And pops the ultimate to stay alive, so he gets some health back, but he's in a very dangerous territory. It's a 2v1. He just needs to back out, although Scribble is there to help him escape. But that was very risky. You already popped your ultimate. You're up against 2 enemies.
Yep, and now we see the power of that tower damage. Not only do you have a Trundle who absolutely smacks towers, now he's got 6 Void Grub stacks.
Does that apply to the whole team or
yes.
just... Oh, okay. I thought it was just like Xin Zhao, but so the entire team gets that bonus.
Yes. And I don't know, with the way that this game is going, I don't know if we'll make it to the Rift Herald, I believe. It's going to spawn here shortly.
Yeah,
actually, I think it's
we're
up now.
Go for it right now.
So we see that the Rift Herald, it looks different, but it does a few things a little bit different. So hopefully we're going to see Champ whip that out here shortly. So we see bot lane is already poked down once again. Draven doing a ton of damage, has the Hubris online. Are they going to be able to find Maxi Boom with the Zyra? The knockup is going to end up going wide. No ultimate, the ultimate from Phantom not nearly doing enough damage yet, just as he only has 1 item. Interesting first item build out of the Draven when you're 4-1. In my opinion, I would have first itemed something like Collector, or even I would have even first itemed IE at this point, but. Yeah, as you see, there's the little Void minions. They're helping tick away at the tower. Basically helps with, when I'm commentating games, I like to distinguish which team's gonna go for which, and if you have a very heavy split push comp, sort of like Miami has with Trundle and Akali, you want to prioritize Void Grubs over early stacking dragons, because they, as solo, it's essentially like having a mini hole breaker for everybody on your team. Because they can do just that. It's not a massive amount, but it's a bit more damage to towers to where the enemy team has to respond.
I see. So it gives more choice in the early game as far as which objective you want to prioritize. You want to prioritize dragons, or do you want to prioritize towers?
Yes. If you're playing some pretty heavy AP against a very early win con bot lane, such as, take our game here we have, for example. A Draven Leona, as we see, it might be Trundle caught out here. Nope, Blades are actually going to end up landing. Can they be able to get the shutdown on the 5-0 Trundle? They will find it and give it over to Happier Cat. One of the more fed members on the side of Marietta right now, so trying to put as much into them as possible. But like for our match, we have an example right now. When you're up against a very early win con bot lane, such as Draven Leona, and you have a very heavy AP bot lane with Seraphine Zyra, you can't really play to stack dragons early, but you have some, not really that great of a split push comp, but you can play towards those Void Grubs if they decide to play for dragons early and stack dragons earlier. But vice versa, you have a very good split push comp, so you could play to get those Void Grubs early on the side of Miami, because you can get that split push threat.
Looks like they're going to be eyeing the Hextech Drake next. So far in this game, they're able to prioritize both.
Yes, and that's true. I feel like Marietta could have found an angle to trade off the Void Grubs for the first dragon and been able to slow the bleeding a little bit there. As we see, Happier Cat's just going to go towards the tower, maybe trying to look for a little bit of a proxy. As we see, there it is! He's inside the Rift Herald! And when it crashes, a ton of little Void minions spawn.
I see, that is... So he's literally riding the Rift Herald.
Yes, you can drive the Rift Herald. You can drive the Rift Herald now. It is absolutely absurd. And when you drive it in crash, you do more damage than letting it crash on its own. So it's very interesting. I love it. I think it's a very fun change. And it's a good change. As we see a nice engage from the Leona there. It's going to be able to get a knock up. The charm's going to come down from Seraphine, but it's onto that tanky Leona, so not being able to find much of anything as Phantom's going to be able to slay Happier Cat, but it is traded out 1-for-1. Champ is going to go forward with the flash, but Mundo is putting in absolute work throughout that time while they're all fighting. Most of the members of Marietta have fallen. Nobody can really respond to this Trundle now, and he's just gonna farm up all these waves to buy his team time to push through this mid lane. I don't think they have an endgame angle just yet, but they're gonna get at least 2 potentially inhibitors here, unless Marietta is able to stop this one.
I think they're gonna be able to stop this tower, just barely. It's just, although it might. Oh, it's just hanging on by a thread. But yeah, I just thought about that. Trundle is just so stacked right now. He's going to back out, buy some stuff, and he's just going to try to plow through that top lane again. Super minions are already hitting with their area outlets, going to try to keep that at bay as much as possible. But I actually can see Miami using this opportunity to go straight through mid to try to finish that tower, get a second inhibitor, and see if they can close out this game early. It's only 19 minutes in the game, but we're already at about over 11,000 gold lead for them.
Yeah, and typically in my casts, I don't like to call a game over, but when you hit that 10k gold range, it's kind of like, okay, is there really any possibility that the team can come back from this? So when the best way Marietta can play to slow the bleeding as much as possible and get their AP scalers up is to just not fight. They need to keep this bot lane turret alive as much as possible. As we see a nice engage from Leona is going to be able to find Maxibu there, and we might not even see the Rift Herald come down at this point. It's a flash forward from Phantom trying to find this Seraphine. Will they be able to find it? The knockup's going to come down, but one more auto will end up doing it. And Arnold, you got to be careful. You have no HP walking at a Draven there. And Akali's going to go forward and recognizing that is able to pick up that one. Blades are going to come down onto all 3 of the members, but it's going to be almost not all for naught as Trundle's just going to walk through the bot tower, and they've recognized their win con and have pushed through it off an amazing pick from that Leona. And Miami is going to be able to take game number 1.
All right, here, give me a second to get everything set up here. And adjust the... I gotta do this a little differently since it's a replay. So let's do that. And update the score. There we go. But all right, I mean, we just saw that. I mean, a lot of it came down to the early game.
Yes.
And it seems like a lot of games nowadays, like that first 10 to 15 minutes, especially that first 10 minutes, is critical. And we saw how far ahead both the Draven and the Trundle got, and they just basically made a lot of the plays throughout the entire match.
Yes, Marietta is drafting a very late game comp. Well, I don't know what they're going to draft game number 2. But when they draft a very late game comp, they've got to play for the late game, but they're making a lot of mistakes in the early game. That is not letting them play for the late game. I think if they can go even in the first 10 minutes of that game, get at least first items on their AP champions, then when they move into the team fights, it can look a little bit more of a fight, if that makes sense, because then AP items right now in the game are pretty strong. So Seraphine could do a ton of damage as well as Zyra, and then obviously once Lilia gets her first item, she can land a massive lullaby onto multiple members. They have the CC chain there. You could combo lullaby with Seraphine ultimates. You had Zyra knock up. It's just we didn't really see a team fight where the vision could come into fruition because of the early game mistakes. So gotta see them, if they're going to draft these heavy AP comps and play for the late game, they got to, I think they have to at least survive the first 15 minutes, get their first items online, and then start fighting for the objectives.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to necessarily force anything in the early. You just got to try to stay alive. If you get a little behind, that's fine, but don't get so far behind that when you finally have a chance to get back into it, it's so far out of reach that there's nothing you can do.
Well, here's the thing. Once you get to the first 15 minutes, the only thing you're going to lose out on is one dragon. Second dragon will be spawned So you could lose out on 2 dragons, but you'll lose out on the 2 void grubs unless you find your jungler can find an angle to solo them, which is fine. Your jungler can make plays onto objectives like that. And the Rift Herald will be up. So that first Rift Herald is essentially what you're going to aim to fight for. And then you want to start fighting for dragons after that. And then start, because with very heavy late game AP comps, you can't fight for dragons early when they have a very aggressive AD bot lane. It's just not possible. So you have to play to fight for like that 3rd dragon with your AP items online.
All right, well, since we have the second game file, we can go ahead and pull up that file and get into game 2 right away, so we don't have to worry about waiting for any draft picks or anything. So give me a second here to get everything loaded up here. And we'll see. I think Marietta is on the blue side again, so we're going to go ahead and swap over. Make sure everything is good.
Oh, that's a champ I haven't yet seen in a while.
All right, so what do we got here? So actually, let's pause here for just a second. Let's talk composition. What are you noticing?
Well, so... Okay, so this is difficult because you kind of have to take what I said out the window now, because Miami has drafted a Shyvana, which means they've recognized that their bot lane is going to win early, and they're going to win aggressively early. Which means that they can get all of the dragons that they want. Which is going to be very interesting because I've yet to see Shyvana since like season 12. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. We have a Fiora on the top side against Mundo. It's kind of interesting, but if Mundo lives, it goes even, it's fine, because Fiora is not really much of a team comp or a team fighting champion. She's very heavy split pushing and winning duels 1v1s. So if they go even in the top side, it'll benefit Argotland a little bit more because he can help his team out more than Fiora, but he does also have to respond to the split pushing Fiora, but they technically could send Happier Cat on Pantheon here to respond to the split pushing Fiora.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts about Pantheon mid?
It's not bad. I used to watch somebody on YouTube who would run Pantheon mid a lot. But it's not horrible. He can benefit a lot from the new lethality items that are pretty strong. I think that this bot lane is very interesting. They don't really... no, they can play off each other really well because Lux is I forget what it's called. Her circle. Lux's circle does slow. So Seraphine can be able to root off of that.
Right.
But it's a very heavy poke comp, and and this Nautilus should not have fun. Like, I've played Nautilus against something like this before, and you just should not have fun if you're Nautilus. So that's kind of where Marietta's bot lane has to be here. You don't have a kill button in this bot lane right now. Until you're level 6, you do not have a kill button. So your goal is to chuck everything you can at the Nautilus that tries to walk forward, and if they go for an engage, then you use your CC to kite out and potentially get a kill off that. Because, right, and until you get level 6, you really don't have a blow up kill button. They will have a blow up kill button at level 2.
Alright, let's see what happens. Although, actually, we may be looking at a lane swap here, because Airgatlin's in the mid lane and Happy Cat's at top.
So, this is interesting. I don't entirely agree with this. Just because I don't think that the Mundo will be great against the Syndra, really. Because Syndra can blow him up pretty easily. but it makes sense. I know what they're trying to do, and it makes sense. The Pantheon will have a better time against Fiora than Mundo would. But I don't know. We're just gonna see how it plays out, because I don't think I entirely agree with it, because I think if Mundo can play into the Fiora topside easier than he can play into a Syndra.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some insight, because there are happier cats in the chat right now. But my guess is they saw the composition that Miami was going with, and they probably said, you know what, Happier Cat's probably gonna have a better shot against the Fiora than Eric Gatlin, and maybe Eric Gatlin can hold his own against the Syndra to try to give them the best possible outcome. Because I do believe that Happy Cat is going to be Marietta's win condition. So we need to give them the best possible chance to get ahead, outscale, and carry the team.
This is true. Happier Cat does have a better chance of killing the Fiora than the Syndra, because the Syndra can just push him away and play at range. So does have a little bit of a better chance of killing Fiora than Syndra, so you can get scaling a lot easier and go for that win con. But we already see Argotland is getting chunked down already in this mid lane, so he's kind of just going to be almost like he's just going to honestly sit mid lane, look pretty, don't die. That's kind of the go here. As we see level 2 engage already coming down. Multiple hooks have been landed from this Nautilus already. So Marietta's got to play within their, find an angle to play within their minion wave a little bit better to refrain from getting hooked here.
Yeah, you were talking about that. The Nautilus should not be having a good time, but if he's landing his hooks, he's going to have a real fun time in this lane, because with Seraphine and Lux being very squishy, one hook and it can be lights out for either one of them.
Yes, this is very, very true. Like I said, they have a kill button at level 2, you do not. So you've got to be able to kind of play around that, and you got to poke this man out. Like, got to get some vision in these bushes. You have throw Qs at him, throw your Lux E's at him, as we see a nice hook. Another root's going to come down, but the flash is going to be in response. Ignite will tick down, but I'm expecting Beans. If I'm Beans, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a flash here. I've got my hook up on level 3. I'm looking for some type of flash hook. I'm looking for some type of flash auto, and I'm looking for a kill here. Like, I am desperate, fishing for, in lack of better terms, I'm fishing with my hook for some blood.
You know, it looks like we're going to see an engage between, well, I thought we were going to see an engage between Scrippo and Champ, but I guess not. Champ's going to be rotating over to the mid lane.
But this is a bit of a different look that we have here from Miami, as they have a Shyvana. So they are not going to be ganking very much early. He's going to be relying a lot on his laners. He can look for a topside gank here. As we see, he is going to ping for that. Happier Cat should be able to note that this might be in a little bit of danger. So they will be able to get away. But the Shyvana doesn't really want to gank early. Doesn't really want to gank until they hit level 6 in general. But they have essentially few winning lanes. Happier Cat's winning out in the top side, but if you're Shyvana, you're not really worried about that. You want your mid and bot side winning out early so that you have early dragon prioritizations so you can get that stacking for your passive. Ooh, a nice point and click stun. A little bit late on the parry there, Fiora. But she's going to have to potentially recall here. If I was Happier Cat, you could be calling for Scrimpo, looking for a tower dive there. And get a potential early kill. So see a nice hook. Root's going to come down. No flash on Maxi this time around, but Heal is going to be able to help them get away. But like I was mentioning, I would have been calling potentially for Scrimpo to come help kill the Fiora and go for a tower dive. But Champ was in the area, so would have been able to negate that, and it could have...
That in the blue side jungle was warded, so even if Scrimpo...
Yes, I see that.
They would have known and... They would have reacted with plenty of time in advance.
Yes. Okay, first dragon and first set of wood grubs and first dragon are on the board. This is a composition out of Miami that is going to be prioritizing dragons, not only because they have a very early bot lane advantage, but because you have a Shyvana, and you want to get your Shyvana ahead on passive stacks early. But she is going to look like she's going to go ahead and grab the void grublings right off the bat.
Probably thinking because right now with the lanes occupied, it's going to be uncontested. So might as well go for the free void grubs.
I think not only that, I think also the primary issue is because her bot lane recalled, so doesn't really have an angle to go safely solo the dragon at the moment. So she's waiting for her bot lane to probably get back in a lane, shove out a wave, and then position, and she's gonna path down towards the dragon. Okay, so is gonna end up getting rooted out. I believe that hook actually ended up landing onto Radio Soul. Flash comes out a little bit late there after the roots, and she will be able to get out. No kill just yet. Scrimpo's coming down. This is looking like it could potentially turn into a 3v2, but it is technically a 2v2 because your 80 AP carry has no HP. Binding Light's gonna end up coming down. Some decent chunk damage, but it's on a Nautilus, so it's not gonna do too much. And I gotta be careful because that Kaisa has a Noon Quiver online.
Okay. It looks like we're getting some insight from Happier Cat in the chat, so thank you, Happier Cat. But it looks like the reason for that lane swap earlier was because the Syndra was a hard counter pick for the. I'm forgetting his name.
They're committing everything onto this Nautilus, and they're not going to be able to find that pick. First blood's going to go over to the Kaisa. Will she be able to find another one? Yes, she will. Will she snipe with the W? Did it do enough damage to get the pick here? Not really able to find out on that one. Unleashed Power comes out on the Argot land, but not nearly enough scaling to get that one just yet.
But yeah, okay, so as what Happy Cat is saying in chat, Pantheon was getting countered with the Syndra, so they swapped the lane. And also, Miami did a roster swap, so it's a different top laner. So they were thinking, okay, new top laner, let's put one of our best players in the top lane to go up against that newer player.
I guess that will open up first dragon and triple kill in the bot side. On the Kaisa is not going to be fun. Very interesting that she goes static shift first. Yeah, I would maybe have preferred the Kraken first, but we'll see how it pans out. It will allow her to farm a little bit faster, and can rotate to objectives and let her push her lead a little bit easier. So it's kind of decent. But yeah.
Yeah, it seems like probably going more with a wave clear with that. Because we were already seeing a pretty big goal differential in that bottom lane. So probably looking to try to push towers and then be able to explore elsewhere. Maybe.
Yeah, another hook's gonna come down. No flash online for the Seraphina, will end up burning down instantly as Kaisa goes in with the ultimate. Beans once again taking one of their 80 carries kills. Yeah. I think they're gonna have some very choice words after this game.
Well, and they pop both.
Oh, what? I don't think that hook had any business landing, if I'm being honest.
I was going to say, they pop both of their ultimates to get that kill. And there comes the Dragon 4 push on, another kill. Although they are going to get this Syndra. So getting on the board.
Yeah, Marietta is able to trade out 1 for 1 there, so they slow the bleeding a little bit. Kaisa's going to get a ton of gold as she picks up a solo plate there and a kill off of that bot lane dive. So she's going to be a menace to deal with. Scrimpo's coming up to help fight this Fiora. Hasn't landed any abilities just yet. Is going to be able to flash out that slam. So the Lullaby will not be able to come down and lock up this Fiora.
Looking for a re-engage. Ivana is coming back. Oh no, actually going for grubs instead.
Now, I'm pretty sure on Fiora that you can parry just about everything in the game. And I'm pretty sure if you time it, you have to be like frame perfect, but if you time it, you can parry Lilia's Lullaby. We see another engage coming down, and this bot side off of the hook from Beans. Lux trying to commit that beam to try and help out, get a little bit of damage down, but not really able to find anything. And another double kill in the bot side for Phantom. 6-0 is absolutely devastating on Kaisa right now.
And an additional turret plays is not going to help either. So just trying to chase down Scrimpo. But that blast cone will help him get away. But Luna, yeah, at that point, just going to fall back a little bit. But Marietta's looking for the re-engage. Oh.
If I'm Marietta, I'm not really looking for any. I'm not really looking for any kind of fight here. If you can send 3 people like they did and kill off the Syndra, that's your best angle back into this game at the moment. I want to avoid any team fights at all costs, because if I'm Miami, I'm going to play this very, very smart. I would be lane swapping my Kai'Sa already here and throwing my Syndra in the bot side, because I have a 6-0 Kai'Sa. Throw her into the mid lane right now, and she can go to every single objective that spawns. And you can push that 80k lead right off the bat. As you see, another hook is going to land on the maxi boost. She's going to end up falling there. Lullaby to try and help the Marietta College team escape and kite away. But Nautilus is going forward looking for another hook, and that one's going to end up getting flashed just in time. But I believe it was Beans once again getting another kill there. Very bloodthirsty Nautilus we have here.
He's got to get that full item build before his ADC.
He's already down. What do you mean? She's about to build a Kraken Slayer here. Well, should be building in a Kraken Slayer here. So we see Syndra's going to commit the Unleashed Power. J Nitro fighting their first pick of the game here on the Syndra. And now we have no more Lunan's Tempest, but we have Lunan's Companion. Which I don't entirely know what it does.
Yep, let's find out. It does all that.
Yeah. What is it?
So apparently you gain charges, and then it looks like you can.
The charges make you do additional damage.
Yep.
Okay. And ability haste. Yeah, yada yada. Yeah. So it's pretty strong. It's a good first build on most mages. We'll see if she decides to build into the Storm Surge. I'm very curious as to why she built Storm Surge first on Akali and not on Syndra, but
we're seeing Chimana is going to work on getting that Infernal Drake. At least I thought, well, maybe not.
Yep, they are going to start it up. Marietta not really having an angle to sort of fight this. I like this. Oh, are they going to get, it does get parried. The Exhaust comes down a little bit too late. Will they be able to find the pick though anyway? The autos and the Q, they don't end up getting it. The Fiora lives with barely any HP.
Just like 50 health. You hate to see that.
Oh, I think the exhaust comes out a little bit earlier there. And they can be able to get the CC lockup. You can make an argument that Radio Soul could have committed ultimate as well. So, just to get that pick. But yeah, now we see the Kai'Sa has been moved over to the mid lane now. So she is going to be able to roam to every single objective. So if you're Marietta, you really can't find a teamfight angle. You've got to find some kind of like soloed out champion angle. And yeah, oh no, another hook's gonna come down, and that is going to be Phantom's angle to ult in and slay Maxi Boo. 8-0 on this Kai'Sa, absolutely devastating. But like I'm trying to say here, if you're Marietta, you gotta find every way to fight away from this Kai'Sa right now. But Miami, if they play this smart, is going to find a way to fight every angle with the Kai'Sa at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to keep using that hook to try to engage to give Kai'Sa the opportunity for the picks. And we saw there, Radio Soul did pop the ultimate, but it did get parried by the Fiona, unfortunately.
Fiora's always been a fascinating champ for me. I've always liked Fiora. Am I good at her? No. Am I bad at her? Kinda. We see it might actually be the kill coming down here, but the ultimate from the Lux gets parried, and CCR is able to find their first pick of the game, and the 2v1 duel off of that ultimate. Shrimpo is going to flash forward with the Q, does not have the lullaby, and the flash is going to come out from CCR trying to get away. Will they get the dash over the wall? They will not, and Shrimpo is able to clean up that one.
We're going to see Kaiser going to be taking down this mid-inner tower. That's 4 towers to nothing so far. Shrimpo's looking for that engage, but does not get hooked, fortunately.
Stormrazor has been picked up for the Kaisa here, so very a build that makes sense, especially when you're ahead. Allows for a lot of ability haste, lots of not too much attack speed, a little bit of crit striking as well off of the Static Shiv and Stormrazor. So it makes a decent amount of sense. I kind of was expecting a little bit more build into lethality, but we see another hook's gonna come down. The Unleashed Power committed as well. Jay Nitro is able to find that one. Kaisa Phantom trying to come down and steal that one with the ultimate, but was unable to take it from the mid laner. And now the Rift Tail is going to be popped once again, being drove by Chip. He's going to run straight into this bot tower. It looked like he honestly might have missed it there for a second.
Almost did.
But that would be the bot tier 2 falling. Gonna hop into the Rift Tail one more time, trying to get potentially another slam. Will they gonna stop it? They will. And now Shyvana is caught out under the tower, committing ultimate. There is Maxi Boo. But the Seraphine ultimate is gonna go completely wide, finding nothing. They're trying to clean up these picks. As Happier Cat's gonna come in with the Pantheon and get a shutdown onto the mid laner. 2-1. He is the strongest member of Marietta at the moment, has got that Eclipse online and looking for some potential 1v1s. It might be Maxi Boo caught out here. No, it will not be Champ finding an angle onto that one. I believe that's Fiora. No, not Fiora TPing. Happier Cat ended up TPing there. But now Maxi Boo gets caught out of the jungle and is going to get hooked and slain by Phantom there. This could be a potential end game angle for Miami.
That's possible. We do see a Lure coming out for Nautilus. They're trying to slow him down, but he's just super tanky at this point that he can stand there for good while looking for another hook. Seems like at this point in the game, Kaisa is so powerful that one hook from the Nautilus is going to be instant death from the Kaisa.
Yes, it's true, and honestly, it could be just instant death in general because one Nautilus hook is going to be the Miami's go button for a team fight engage. As we see a nice binding light's gonna come down, and the root does miss, but Jay Nitro with the Unleashed Power finds Argot land once again. And she's looking for potentially more. Those Qs are hurting as she just throws one at Maxi Boo for a double kill. And now the hook is going to come down onto Shrimpo, trying to find potentially a team fight here. Miami Phantom's going to be able to pick up one, trying to help burst down this tower so his teammates don't fall. But Happier Cat is able to trade out. Will Phantom be able to slay Happier Cat? No, he's got that shield. Gotta love Pantheon and his shield. That's not sarcasm. I think Pantheon Shield's fun, because when I originally started playing the game, I one-trick Pantheon, and I would scream at my friends like I was playing Reinhardt. Push in, I'm shielding. Push in, I'm shielding.
I mean, it's a pretty effective shield. It's just right now the challenge is Miami is so powerful. I mean, Kaisa's at 10-0. Kaisa has not died once this entire game. And
well, neither has Shyvana.
Neither has Shyvana. Although Shyvana's just been there kind of support. It only has 4 assists.
She has 3 dragons on her passive now.
Well, that's true. But we gotta talk about this Syndra too, because I think she has not been a little underestimated here. Even at 4-2-1, we just saw like how powerful her ultimate is. Even her Q was able to finish off. Just her Q.
Oh no, we've reached a point in the game where Syndra she's got 2 items online as well, and she's just going to be devastating. But oh yes, so the game hasn't ended yet, so this is something I can talk about now. So if you saw there, just for a brief moment, and there's the Baron. Don't ask me about the Baron. I don't know. There's different forms of the Baron. One of them does like that. One of them pulls you into the Baron pit. One of them like electrocutes you. I don't know. There's like 4 different forms of Baron now. They all do different things.
Well, whichever form that is, Miami just got it.
Yes, but since the Baron has spawned, the entire rift goes void mode. So if you would have saw for a brief moment there, Shrimpo was getting his blue buff, it looked purple. When he kills it, his entire team gets blue buff now. And so the blue and red buffs now, whenever you kill them, your entire team gets them.
That's pretty useful in the late game, but I don't know if we're going to get much fun in the late game because Miami is right onto the base, already taking down 2 of the Pioneers, already eyeing that first Nexus Tower. Hadric Cat's already down, so that's already 3, so it's just Radiant Soul and Air Gatlins left. Actually, it's now an ace with Baron buff and all these minions coming in. They're going to be collapsing onto the Nexus, and that is going to be the match in favor of Miami.
Yeah, Miami able to take this one 2-0. Once again, funneling their win con through the bot side of the map. 13-0. I was unable to get that nice and even 15-0. But, yep, that Phantom on Miami was their win con, and they played to their strengths exponentially, and we could see it pay off.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just still came back to, and I mean, we kind of already knew how this was going to go up. I know I was listening to the team discussing about it after their match of the day. A lot of it comes down to the early game.
Yes.
We saw a lot of early game deaths. I know yesterday during practice, the team has been working on minimizing how many times they die in that first 15 minutes. So I think going into today's match against St. Thomas, a lot of it's going to come down to minimizing those deaths early game. So then we can get into those mid-game fights, get into the late game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do agree. That's kind of what happened mostly throughout that game. Lots of early game mistakes, which snowballed into late game, which Marietta comps, they like to draft sort of mid to late game comps. They need to find a way to live and make it to the mid to late game to see their comps that kind of spring into light. So I will do my best to be back for the match at 4 today, but we will see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take the stream down to give it a break as I try to get things set up for our match at 4 o'clock today against St. Thomas. So please be sure to come back. Tyler, thank you for coming in to talk about the game here.
Yes.
It's truly appreciated. And if you're able to come back around 4, that'd be great. If not, just come by when you can.
Yes, I will do my best.
But all right, yeah, so we'll call it here. So for all the latest updates with Let's Go with Marietta College Esports, please be sure to follow us here on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Shout outs to all of our supporters, HyperX for being the official peripheral sponsor of Marietta College Esports. But we also want to thank Buy Blue Light, Elgato, Kovacs, MSI, Incrediware, and Over the Moon Pizza for their support. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your gifts and your subscriptions. And we hope to see you in a couple of hours. If not, enjoy the rest of your day.